Standing by my kitchen window, watching my 9-year-old daughter Lily meticulously arrange fallen leaves into patterns on the patio table below, I felt a familiar sense of quiet contentment. This small house in the Denver suburbs, the steady rhythm of my work as a senior analyst, the uncomplicated joy of raising Lily alone after my divorce 3 years ago, this was the life I had carefully, painstakingly built. A life deliberately insulated from the complex, often painful dynamics of my own family, which is why the thick cream-coloured envelope I'd retrieved from the mailbox earlier that morning felt less like an invitation and more like a potential grenade rolled gently under my door. The return address confirmed my suspicion. Claire and David Moreau requesting the pleasure of my company at their housewarming party. Tonight. Claire, my younger sister, and David, her husband, the perpetually ambitious real estate developer. An invitation received the morning of the event, after 4 years of near-total silence between us. Classic Claire, always dramatic, always last minute, always assuming the world operated on her timetable. "Mum, I'm going to be late for school." Lily's voice cut through my thoughts, poking her head back through the kitchen door, backpack already slung over one shoulder. "Sorry, sweetie," I snapped back to reality, quickly tucking the offending envelope into my work bag. "Let's go." My relationship with my sister, and indeed my parents, Margaret and Robert Hayes, was complicated, fractured, more accurately. Growing up, it was always Vanessa. Claire, I corrected myself, still tripping over the name change in the rewrite plan, who commanded the spotlight. Claire, the beautiful, volatile one, stumbling through school, relationships, jobs, always landing softly thanks to Mum and Dad's unwavering financial and emotional safety net. I, Eleanor, Ellie, was the good one. Excellent grades, a sensible college degree, stable job, predictable marriage, which still ended in divorce, proving predictability isn't foolproof. Because I was self-sufficient, because I didn't cause drama, I received benign neglect disguised as trust in my capabilities. When my own marriage imploded 3 years ago, and I, reeling and blindsided, asked my parents for temporary help, just a small loan to cover the deposit on this very house until my finances stabilised, they'd refused coldly. "You're a smart woman, Eleanor," my mother had said, her voice devoid of warmth. "You should solve your own problems." A few months later, I heard through the grapevine they'd given Claire and David a substantial financial gift for their wedding. The irony wasn't lost on me, so why? After 4 years of silence punctuated only by obligatory awkward holiday cards, invite me now, and on the day of the party itself, I reread the invitation during my commute after dropping Lily at school. Thick, expensive paper, engraved lettering, an address in Cherry Creek, one of Denver's most affluent neighborhoods. On the back, a short, breezy note in Claire's looping script. "Ellie, long time no see. Huge housewarming bash tonight, 7 p.m. Let's all celebrate. A real family reunion. Mum and Dad are so looking forward to seeing you and Lily. XOXO Claire." Family reunion. The phrase felt hollow, almost mocking, yet a tiny, treacherous part of me, the part that still craved the simple normalcy of familial connection, felt a flicker of something. And then there was Lily. She barely remembered her Aunt Claire or her grandparents. Their absence in her life was a quiet ache I tried not to dwell on. Didn't she deserve some connection, however flawed, to that side of her family? I spent the day distracted at work, unable to focus on risk assessment spreadsheets. During lunch, I called Maria Garcia, my rock, my oldest friend, a sharp-witted former security consultant who now ran her own PI firm. "Housewarming invite. From Claire. After 4 years." Maria's voice was instantly sceptical. "Day of notice. Smells fishy, Elle. What's the catch?" "Probably just Claire being Claire." I sighed. "But I feel obligated. Maybe for Lily's sake. Obligated to what? More passive-aggressive comments from Margaret, awkward silence from Robert, Claire showing off her new McMansion. Maria snorted. Trust your gut, Elle. If it feels off, it probably is. Keep your eyes open if you go, and maybe park down the street. I laughed despite myself. Okay, point taken. But the pull, however illogical, remained, for Lily, maybe just for an hour or two, show our faces, prove we weren't hiding, let Lily see her grandparents. What harm could it do? That evening, explaining the plan to Lily, I saw her initial surprise blossom into cautious excitement. Grandma Margaret and Grandpa Robert will be there. And Aunt Claire? She asked, her eyes wide. The names were familiar mostly from old photographs. Yes, sweetie. The whole family. I helped her into a simple party dress, trying to ignore the tremor in my own hands as I fastened the buttons. I chose a plain black sheath for myself, aiming for invisibility, put aside past wounds, I told myself. New beginning. For Lily's sake. Smile. Be polite. As dusk settled, we followed the GPS into the heart of Cherry Creek. Tree-lined streets, manicured lawns, houses that weren't just houses, but statements of wealth. My anxiety mounted with each passing block. These houses are huge, Mom, Lily breathed, glued to the window. Which one is Aunt Claire's? Almost there, I murmured, checking the address. We finally pulled up to a large, modern brick mansion set back from the road behind imposing wrought-iron gates. It looked brand new, professionally landscaped to perfection, lights blazing from every window. It felt less like a home and more like a fortress. I pressed the intercom. A moment later, a disembodied voice chirped, "Yes, Ellie and Lily Hayes, for Claire and David's party." A metallic click, and the gates swung silently open. We drove up the winding stone path. Even Lily seemed a little intimidated now. "It's like a castle," she whispered. I smiled faintly, doing a quick mental calculation. Easily 3 million, maybe more. David's business must be doing exceptionally well, or, more likely, Mum and Dad had provided more than just a wedding gift. Before we even reached the massive oak front door, it swung open. Claire stood framed in the doorway, radiating hostess energy. 4 years hadn't changed her much. Still blonde, still perfectly styled, poured into a designer black dress that probably cost more than my monthly mortgage payment. "Ellie, you came!" she exclaimed, rushing forward for a light, air-kiss hug that smelled overwhelmingly of expensive perfume. "And Lily, oh my goodness, look at you!" Her enthusiasm felt slightly forced, a little too bright. "I sent the invitation ages ago. When you didn't RSVP, I thought maybe you weren't coming," she added, a subtle reproach in her tone. "Strange," I said, keeping my expression neutral. "It only arrived this morning." A flicker of something unreadable, annoyance, crossed Claire's face before her perfect smile snapped back into place. "Oh, the mail these days! So unreliable. Well, come in, come in. Everyone's waiting to see you." She ushered us into a cavernous entrance hall, buzzing with chatter and clinking glasses. Marble floors gleamed under recessed lighting. Abstract art adorned the walls. A sweeping staircase dominated one end. It was beautiful, expensive, and utterly impersonal. David Moreau emerged from the crowd, shaking my hand with practiced smoothness, offering Lily a cursory smile before turning back to his conversation. "Mom and Dad are over by the fireplace," Claire pointed, already distracted by another arriving guest. I navigated us through the clusters of unfamiliar faces, mostly business types, impeccably dressed, assessing each other over wine glasses. I spotted my parents, Margaret, looking unnervingly youthful thanks to, I suspected, more than just good genes, held court with a group of women. Robert stood slightly apart, nursing a drink, looking bored. They saw us approaching. The surprise on their faces was genuine, quickly followed by a flicker of something less welcoming. Displeasure? Annoyance? "Eleanor, you made it," Margaret said, her smile tight, formal. She bent slightly towards Lily. "And Lily. My, haven't you grown?" That was the extent of her greeting before she turned back to her friends. Dad gave me a stiff, awkward pat on the shoulder. "Ellie, how have you been?" Before I could answer, he'd already pivoted back to the man he was talking to. Lily looked up at me, her lower lip trembling slightly. "They don't seem very happy to see us, Mom." "It's okay, honey," I whispered, forcing a smile, steering her towards a quieter corner near the terrace doors. "They're just busy hosting. We'll talk to them later." But my own heart felt heavy. The familiar chill of their indifference wrapped around me even in the overheated room. Maybe Maria Garcia was right. Maybe coming here was a mistake. The air felt thick with unspoken tensions, and the party had barely begun. I tried for Lily's sake to mingle. I plastered on a polite smile, drifted between conversations, commented on the impressive architecture, complimented the catering, but it felt like walking through thick syrup. The guests, mostly David Moreau's business associates and Claire's social circle, offered fleeting, disinterested smiles before turning back to their own animated discussions about stock options, golf handicaps, and upcoming European vacations. My attempts at conversation fizzled out quickly. I was an anomaly, an outsider easily identified and just as easily dismissed. My parents, Margaret and Robert, remained ensconced in their respective groups, occasionally glancing my way with expressions I couldn't quite decipher. Indifference, annoyance, guilt. Lily stayed glued to my side, her earlier excitement completely extinguished. She'd made one tentative attempt to join a group of similarly aged children playing near a grand piano, only to be met with blank stares and a quick turning of backs. She didn't try again, just held onto my hand, her small face unusually solemn. Seeing her retreat into herself, mirroring my own feelings of isolation, twisted something painful inside me. This wasn't the family reunion I'd hoped for, however naively. This was just awkwardness amplified by expensive surroundings. Seeking refuge, I guided Lily towards the French doors, leading out onto a large stone terrace overlooking the meticulously landscaped backyard. The cool night air was a welcome relief from the stuffy, perfumed atmosphere inside. Most guests remained indoors, but a small group of men stood near the railing at the far end, huddled together, their voices low. I recognized my brother-in-law, David Moreau, among them, along with a couple of faces I vaguely recalled seeing inside. I steered Lily towards the opposite end of the terrace, hoping for a quiet moment. As I leaned against the cool stone balustrade, pretending to admire the illuminated fountain, snippets of their conversation drifted towards me on the breeze. "Stress is unbelievable, but the payout will solve everything." That was David's voice, tight, hushed. "Signatures verified? No loose ends?" Another man asked, his back to me. "Triple-checked. Documents are solid. The policy is active," David replied. A pause. "Just need the incident to proceed smoothly." Incident? Policy? Payout? My analyst brain snagged on the words. Sounded like typical high-stakes business talk. Maybe a risky deal they were hoping would pay off big. Still, something about David's tense posture, the furtive way they glanced around, prickled my unease. "Mom?" Lily tugged at my sleeve, pulling me from my thoughts. Her eyes were wide, her face paler than before. "Can we go home soon? This place feels weird." "What's wrong, sweetie?" I knelt down, smoothing her hair. Did something happen? She hesitated, glancing back towards the house. I went looking for the bathroom downstairs," she whispered, fiddling with the hem of her dress. "Like, in the basement. The door was kinda open." "The basement?" By yourself? My unease sharpened. She nodded. I thought maybe the bathroom was down there. It was dark, but I saw some men. Not the party guests. They were working on something near some big pipes. There was this black box thingy, and it had numbers on it, like clicking down. My blood ran cold. A black box with numbers, like a timer. Yeah, she breathed, eyes darting around nervously, and when they saw me, they looked really angry. One of them yelled, "Hey!" and I got scared and ran back upstairs. A timer, attached to pipes, likely gas pipes, in the basement, combined with the overheard fragments about an incident and an insurance payout. My mind raced, trying to find an innocent explanation. A boiler timer? A water softener system? But the men's angry reaction, Lily's palpable fear, it didn't fit. A chilling premonition began to form, dark and unbelievable. "Okay, honey," I said, forcing my voice to remain calm, pulling her close. "You were right to come tell me. Don't worry about it now. We'll leave very soon, I promise." But my heart was hammering against my ribs. Just as I was formulating an excuse to make our exit, Claire appeared at the French doors, her smile looking slightly strained now. "Ellie, there you are. I was looking for you." She glanced down at Lily. "Getting tired, little one." "We were just about to head out, actually," I said, standing up, keeping my tone light. "It's getting late for Lily. School night tomorrow." Claire's smile tightened, almost imperceptibly. "Oh, nonsense! The party's just getting started. You can't leave yet." She stepped closer. "In fact, I was just thinking, it's so late, and you drove all the way out here. You must stay overnight. We have the guest room all made up for you and Lily. It's no trouble at all." I stared at her. Stay overnight? After 4 years of silence, she was suddenly insistent. "That's very kind, Claire, but really, we can't. I have an early meeting tomorrow, and Lily—" "I insist," Claire interrupted, her voice hardening slightly beneath the veneer of hospitality. "Honestly, Ellie, you look like you've had a couple of glasses of wine." I'd had exactly half a glass, nursing it all evening. "It wouldn't be safe for you to drive all the way back now. Think of Lily." My internal alarm screamed. This felt wrong, calculated. Why the sudden, intense pressure to stay? If she was concerned about safety, she'd offer to call a taxi, not insist we sleep here. "We appreciate the offer, Claire, truly," I said firmly, meeting her gaze. "But I'm perfectly fine to drive, and Lily sleeps best in her own bed. We'll head off now." A flash of raw anger, quickly masked, crossed Claire's face. Margaret appeared beside her then, seemingly out of nowhere. "Eleanor, don't be difficult," she chimed in. Her tone brooks no argument. "Claire is right. It's late. You'll stay. We won't hear otherwise." The combined pressure felt suffocating, trapped. I needed a moment to think, to find another way out without escalating things. "Okay, well, perhaps just one more quick drink then, while Lily rests her eyes on the sofa," I suggested, stalling for time, trying to appear compliant. Claire's relief was palpable. "Wonderful! David, get Ellie another glass of wine." As David headed towards the bar inside, I stepped back out onto the terrace, needing air, needing to think. The group of men David had been talking to earlier were still there, closer now, and I heard it again, clearer this time. "Timer is set for 2 a.m. sharp," one man murmured, checking his watch. "Gives us plenty of time to clear out after they've gone to sleep." "Perfect," another replied. "Clean burn. Payout should be straightforward. 2 a.m. After they've gone to sleep. Clean burn. Payout." It hit me then, the full, horrifying picture. The timer Lily saw wasn't for a boiler. It was connected to the gas lines. The incident wasn't a business deal. It was a staged accident. The insurance payout wasn't for property. It was likely for life insurance. My life insurance. The reason they wanted us to stay overnight, tucked away in the guest room, was so we would be here, asleep, drugged perhaps via the air conditioning, a detail from the transcript flashing through my mind, when the timer hit 2 a.m. and the house went up in flames or filled with gas. My own family, my sister, my parents, my brother-in-law, were planning to kill me and my daughter for money. Nausea rose in my throat. My legs felt weak. This couldn't be real. But the cold logic, the connected pieces, the last-minute invite, the insistence we stay, the timer, the insurance talk, my parents' desperation, Claire's jealousy, David's potential financial troubles. It all fit with horrifying precision. I turned, scanning the thinning crowd inside for Lily, found her curled up on an armchair near the fireplace, looking small and lost. My priorities shifted with blinding clarity. Forget politeness. Forget appearances. We had to get out. Now, before they realised we suspected anything, before they could stop us, I needed to act normally, find Lily, and walk out that front door as quickly and calmly as possible. The house wasn't just unwelcoming, it was a death trap. My blood ran cold. But years of masking emotions in difficult professional meetings served me well. I forced my face into a neutral, slightly weary expression. Panic would alert them. I needed to appear calm, slightly tired, ready to go home. Nothing more. "Okay, sweetie," I murmured to Lily, squeezing her hand reassuringly while keeping my voice light. "Mommy's tired too. Let's go find Aunt Claire and say goodnight." We walked back into the main living area, my arm firmly around Lily's shoulders. The party was thinning out now, the energy winding down. I spotted them, Claire, David, Mom and Dad, standing in a tight knot near the grand entrance hall, talking in low, hushed voices, their heads close together. They looked up as we approached, their conversation ceasing abruptly. A strange tension radiated from them. "It was a lovely party, Claire, David," I began, forcing a polite hostess gift smile. "The house is stunning, but Lily's exhausted, and we really need to head home now, early start tomorrow." All four turned to look at me, their expressions eerily similar. Surprise quickly masked, replaced by something I couldn't quite read. Disappointment. Annoyance. Claire's smile was brittle. "Oh, still here, Ellie? I thought you'd decided to stay. The guest room is all ready." "No, we really must get going," I repeated firmly but pleasantly. "Thank you again for the invitation." "But it's so late," Mom chimed in, stepping forward slightly. "And the roads might still be slick from the earlier rain. It's not safe. Stay for breakfast." Dad nodded in agreement, crossing his arms. "Your mother's right, Eleanor. No point risking it." Their coordinated insistence, so different from their earlier indifference, sent another wave of ice through my veins. They really didn't want us to leave. Just then, Lily, who had been silent beside me, gripped my hand with surprising strength, her small body trembling. "Mom," she whispered, her voice high and shaky, barely audible but urgent. "We need to go. Now." Her raw fear cut through my forced composure. That was it. No more politeness, no more pretending. "Thank you for your concern," I said, my voice suddenly sharp, firm, meeting each of their gazes directly. "But we are leaving. Now, Lily, let's get your jacket." I didn't wait for a response. I turned decisively, pulling Lily with me towards the coat closet near the door. Behind me, I heard a strange sound, a choked laugh, a frustrated sigh. David Moreau suddenly appeared beside us as I helped Lily into her light jacket. "Ellie, wait," he said, his voice low, attempting a concerned tone that didn't reach his eyes. "Really, think about this. It's late, dark, dangerous drive. Why not just stay? It's safer here." I looked straight at him, at my brother-in-law who I'd overheard discussing insurance payouts and timers just an hour before. The mask of civility dropped completely from my mind. "Thanks, David," I said, my voice cold as steel. But I think we'll be much safer away from here. Good night." I didn't wait to see his reaction. I opened the massive front door, pulled Lily out into the cool night air, and practically ran down the stone path towards my car parked further down the driveway, fumbling for my keys, my heart pounding a frantic rhythm against my ribs. I bundled Lily into the passenger seat, locked the doors, the second I slid behind the wheel, and started the engine with trembling hands. As I reversed down the driveway, I glanced back at the house. Through the large windows, I could see them. Claire, David, Mom, Dad, standing in the brightly lit hallway, watching us leave, their figures silhouetted, their expressions unreadable from this distance. They weren't waving goodbye. I drove away, obeying speed limits, forcing myself to breathe evenly, but checking my rearview mirror every few seconds, half expecting headlights to appear behind us. The upscale neighbourhood felt menacing now, the large houses like silent, watchful predators. Lily was quiet beside me, huddled deep in her seat. "You were so brave back there, sweetie," I whispered, reaching over to squeeze her knee. "That house was scary, Mom," she replied in a small voice. "The clicking box." "I know," I said. "But we're safe now. We're going home." The moment we were inside our own small, blessedly normal house, I locked the deadbolt, checked all the windows, and drew the curtains. My hands were still shaking. Adrenaline left me feeling weak-kneed. After tucking a visibly relieved Lily into my bed for the night, "I don't want to be alone, Mom." I grabbed my phone. My first call wasn't to 911. What would I say? My family acted weird, and my daughter saw a timer. I needed someone who would understand, someone who wouldn't dismiss my fears. I called Maria Garcia. "Maria, it's Ellie. Sorry, I know it's late, but..." My voice cracked. I quickly recounted the evening, the invitation, the cold reception, the overheard conversations about insurance and accidents, Lily seeing the timer on the gas pipes, the intense pressure to stay overnight, the bizarre farewell. Maria listened intently, her calm, professional demeanour instantly kicking in. "Okay, Elle," she said when I finished, her voice serious. "First, deep breaths. You and Lily are safe. That's what matters. Second, do not dismiss this. Your gut is screaming for a reason. A timer on a gas line is not normal. Combined with insurance talk, that's multiple red flags." She paused. "I'm calling Detective Miller right now. Dave Miller. Remember him? Solid guy. Major crimes. I'll brief him. He'll likely want to talk to you first thing tomorrow. Stay put. Keep doors locked. Don't answer calls from unknown numbers or them. Call me if anything feels off. Anything at all." Hanging up, I felt a sliver of relief pierce through the fear. Maria believed me. This wasn't just paranoia. The next morning, after a sleepless night, I met Maria and Detective Dave Miller at a quiet precinct conference room. Miller, a sturdy man in his late 40s with tired but intelligent eyes, listened patiently as I recounted the events again, this time with more detail. Then a trained child interviewer spoke gently with Lily, who bravely described the black box, the clicking numbers, the pipes, and the angry men in the basement. Detective Miller took copious notes, his expression growing increasingly grim. He asked about my life insurance policy. "Yes," I confirmed. "Standard policy through my work, plus a term life policy I took out after the divorce. Beneficiary is Lily, held in trust." "Are you certain about the beneficiary?" he pressed gently. "Absolutely," I said. He made a quick call. Within minutes, he got a response, his eyebrows shooting up. "Ms. Hayes," he said carefully. "According to the insurance company's records, an application to change the beneficiary on your term life policy was processed and approved last month. The new primary beneficiary is listed as your sister, Claire Beaumont." He turned his laptop screen towards me, a scanned document. a change of beneficiary form. And at the bottom, a signature that looked disturbingly like mine, but wasn't. "Is this your signature?" The blood drained from my face. "No," I whispered. That's a forgery." That was all Detective Miller needed. Things moved rapidly after that. Search warrants were issued for Claire and David's house based on probable cause: the forged document, the timer description, the suspicious circumstances. The discoveries confirmed my worst fears. In the basement, exactly where Lily described, they found a sophisticated timer device wired directly to the main gas line, set to release gas at 2 a.m. that morning. In the guest room's ventilation system, residue and traces of a potent sleeping drug were found. And in David Moreau's home office safe, alongside the forged insurance documents, police found financial records detailing the extent of my parents' debt, their retirement funds wiped out by David's failed developments, and emails between Claire, David, Margaret, and Robert outlining the desperate, horrifying plan: incapacitate Ellie and Lily with drugs, stage a gas leak, explosion, poisoning, make it look like a tragic accident, and collect the multi-million-dollar life insurance payout, naming Claire as beneficiary to solve everyone's financial problems and, perhaps for Claire, eliminate her successful older sister. The arrests were made swiftly that afternoon. Claire, David, my mother Margaret, my father Robert, charged with conspiracy, attempted murder, insurance fraud. Their perfect lives, built on lies and resentment, imploded spectacularly. The trial months later was an ordeal, but seeing them face justice brought a grim sense of closure. Vanessa, Claire, and Brian, David, received long sentences. My parents, due to their age and perhaps lesser direct involvement in the mechanics of the plot, received shorter but still significant prison terms for conspiracy. Life moved on slowly, tentatively. Lily, with therapy and time, began to heal from the trauma, her nightmares fading. We moved to a new house in a different neighborhood, leaving the ghosts of Bethesda, Denver behind. Maria Garcia and the Donovan family became our steadfast chosen family, offering support and normalcy. I found a new job at a different firm, rebuilding my career. The betrayal left scars, a permanent reminder of the darkness that can hide behind familiar faces. But sitting with Lily now, reading bedtime stories in our safe, warm home, I know we survived, we escaped, and we found strength not in blood ties, but in truth, resilience, and the unwavering love between a mother and daughter who refused to be extinguished.